I am Frank Love. I am a husband, father of five, graduate of Howard University and George Washington University. And I will tell anyone, I told my wife, my children, anyone within earshot that I would like to be accepted in my relationship no matter what I do. And I believe fundamentally everyone wants that. Whether we're willing to admit it or not, that's what we want. And it may be hard to say, it may be even harder to give that level of acceptance to your partner, but it is a piece that is so entrenched in who we are that many of us aren't willing to deal with it, touch it, and we even come up with mechanisms to avoid it. And so my job to myself and to those of the world who are willing to listen is to look at those layers, to peel back the layers and the barriers that we create to finding that level of acceptance and giving that level of acceptance. That's my job. I'm constantly looking at my own motives, my own actions, and then, of course, those that write to me or ask me questions or any of that, any combination of those scenarios to figure out how I can be more loving, how I can give more love, and how I can be at peace while doing all of it. So I've done a lot of writing, I've got videos, and my understanding is Dr. Peterson asked you to maybe look at them, or, I'm not sure exactly, but you definitely had some questions that I received. I can certainly start talking about some of the things that I'm working on right now. That's an easy place for me to go, but I don't want this to just be me talking at you. I definitely want this to be a conversation between all of us, and this is what I do, and I have fun doing it all around the country. So, do you guys want to start off with, how do you want to start?
So your videos, are they on YouTube, or do you have like a blog, or what do you have?
All of that.
All of that?
Yes, yep. Yes, ma'am.
What do you mean when you say accept anything? Because as a woman, I'm listening to the word anything. I'm not willing to accept anything.
I understand.
Okay.
And I don't think it has anything to really do with being a woman. I mean, many men will say the same thing.
Well, I can only say that because I'm a woman, so.
Well, you can say what I just said because you're human.
Right.
So, it depends on where you want to jump in. You want to get in on your humanity, or you want to get in on the woman's side.
Okay.
Either anywhere you want to go, we can play with that.
So
But
what do you mean accept? Do you mean like when you get into a relationship, because I've been married twice. And I'm divorced twice.
Okay.
And so there were things that I saw in my partners that I accepted and that I wasn't willing to accept, mainly cheating. For me, that's an out. I don't want to deal with it, not going to deal with it. Being lied to, I can deal with it. It depends. I guess it would depend on what it is. So what do you mean when you say anything?
I mean anything. Now you just said two things.
Okay.
You said cheating and being lied to.
You say something profound.
What's that?
You're back with your ex-husband.
Yes, my second husband.
See?
Okay. All right. So we can talk about cheating. We can talk about being lied to. In fact, I'm writing a book about being lied to right now. So if you want to talk about that, it's yummy for me.
Have you ever cheated on your wife?
I've never cheated on my wife. However, two things.
Okay.
So one is the term cheating is loaded.
Okay.
And it's a term that I would never use, not even if my wife, quote unquote, cheated on me. I would never use the term because it's not, when I say it's loaded, it is telling the person listening how they should feel. When I say, so let's say an example, give me a moment. Let me play with her, and then, so an example is, let's say someone dogged me.
Okay.
If I tell you somebody dogged me, in a very covert way, I'm saying to you, I want you to feel bad for me because of something someone did to me. That's what I'm very covertly telling you. I'm not telling you the quote unquote truth, and we can play with the lying concept also. So I'm not telling you the truth, I'm telling you my interpretation. I'm not giving you the facts. The facts to what many of us call cheating is my partner had sex with someone other than me. That's the facts. Those are the facts. If it's a fact, the fact is not you were cheated on, because the question, if you get into whether you were cheated on, well, the question becomes, well, what was your agreement? And how did you create that agreement? And did you agree to that, or did he agree to, the conversation becomes so interesting that to say just you were cheated on, it robs me in many ways of my intelligence to ask deeper questions. So if you said my ex-husband had sex with someone other than me, well, then that is fact. And then that leads me to ask questions, if I care. But it's possible that's not even important. It's possible you may be just telling me that just to let me know, kind of what happened. No judgment on it. But you say you were cheated on, you've got judgment on it. You were dogged, you've got judgment on it. And you're asking me to accept your judgment. And so that's one of the things that I like for us as individuals in relationships or interested in relationships to consider and to play with. The actual, what's the spirit of what you're saying? And what's your spirit when you're in your relationship? Are you looking to see if you're cheated on, or are you interested in connecting with your partner? So this is interesting stuff to me. So,
But
I mean,
it's not unspoken rules. I mean, I respect what you're saying, and I hear what you're saying, and I can't disagree. That's your opinion. I'm asking.
you can absolutely disagree. We're sharing opinions.
I disagree with that you're saying that the cheating, because having sex with another woman, if you're in a relationship with me, is going outside of what we have, so it is considered cheating. What's the
No.
definition? No.
It's considered as having an affair. That would be a better term, like he said, cheating, okay.
See, but the term that I use, and I always use this with my fiance, and this is like the agreement that we came upon. I say instead of cheating or being dogged, anything like that, stepping outside of the relationship. That's what I do, and I let her know. I let her know by me saying this to her, and she agrees to it, that if either one of us ever stepped out of the relationship, let the other one know before the other one finds out, so it won't be like total frustration and just walk away from the relationship, because we could probably fix the situation, and the person that was stepped out on, could try to better whatever they did wrong for that person to do that.
Mhm. That's certainly a way to frame the conversation. And the interesting piece there is many of us, most of us, and at times myself included. So I'm with you guys. I've used the term. I'm your brother. I'm not talking at you. We're talking. We're sharing. So even the concept of outside of our relationship, it's questionable. Like, you can really, that's worth looking at in and of itself, because the question becomes, well, what does it mean to be in a relationship? And does it mean if you were to have sex with someone outside of your relationship, well, different than your partner, does that mean that something's wrong in that relationship? Like, definitively, does that absolutely mean that?
Yes,
And-
it does, because in any circumstance, someone that steps outside a relationship and looking for something that they don't have in that relationship, and it could have been an argument that they had, or maybe this person isn't treating them like they want to be treated, and they haven't said how they want to be treated, that once they do that, and then boom, like the two people come back together and, you know, say, well, this is what happened, such. Okay, well, tell me how I can be better at this situation so it won't happen again. And once that is told, now they're able to tell, well, this is how I want to be treated, because they never stated it that this is how they want to be treated. So they stepped out of the relationship because they saw, I'm not being treated the way I want to. And the other person's like, well, how do you want me to treat you? You never said it, but now it's been said.
So is it a given? I'm coming. So is it a given that if you don't get what if there's something in your relationship that you're not getting and you decide to go somewhere else to get it, whatever it may be, that something's wrong in your relationship? Is that a given? Is that automatically, is that fact?
No.
Exactly. And so with the rationale that you just presented, it's based on a belief that that's fact, and that's questionable. So I would ask you and me to take a look at that, to see if just because someone wants something from someone other than you doesn't make you wrong, and it doesn't make your relationship with that person flawed. It just makes it what it is.
Yeah, sometimes it can be temptation.
It
could be, you know, just at the moment, heat of the moment, and things happen, and there was no thought of the other person. But that's the way I look at it. We've been together for 9 years, so we share a lot in common. Some things we don't share in common. We still bump heads, and that's what makes us so, you know, so bonded well together, because we can do these things when we bump heads and then come right back together because we share this type of situation together.
Yeah, understood.
And yeah, so that's the only reason why, you know, I try to rationalize and come to terms that way, instead of saying being cheated on or I was dogged, and you know what I mean, because those are harsh words. Those are real harsh words, and for the other person to, you know, step out of a relationship that these two people have, it sounds a lot better, because you know, you never know what's on the other person's mind and their intentions when they were doing what they were doing.
Indeed. Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes, this is what I feel, a person has to do an assessment of themselves. They got to know who they are. You know, it don't necessarily have to be, you know, that, what's the word I'm looking for? One's fault. It can be like something, you can be just as good as to this woman or man that you want to be, but then, you know, you got to think back, well, the things that you've been through at younger years, or what you've seen, like from your dad or whatever, or mom, then you want to say, okay, well, my mom jumped from man to man or something like that. So even though my relationship is right, I feel like I'm going to still go out there and do it, because it may be an heredity thing that's going on, chemical balance or whatever, off beat or whatever. But I would say if somebody stepped out of line on me, which that very rarely happen, it's just because that's something they wanted to do. I'm good as I can be to a man, you know what I'm saying? It's just something maybe, you know, like I said, they off balance with stuff or whatever. So.
And that is that's one of those comments that I think gets to the very, very basics. It's as little of your opinion and your harshness as possible. That person did that because that's what they wanted to do. How can you argue that?
They just want to find something
they're working
about that person and go out there and do what they want to do.
They are working their whatever. They're doing something that they felt they needed to do, you know, that sort of thing. But it is that's a very what I consider a respectful comment to make, even in the heat of if that person did it and you angry at them, but that's a very respectable disposition to take in a relationship, and I think it's healthy for relationships to take that kind of healthy, just peaceful look at things. And it's not always easy.
I write, like, if I'm by myself and, you know, my mind is clear, I write a little bit on love too.
Mhm.
I mean, I can write, poems and stuff like
Mhm.
that. I've been thinking about publishing, but I don't know, but I'm kind of like a genius to that.
I believe you. Yes, yes, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So if you establish, because I'm very much like an established, don't treat me like this, do this or that, I'm very upfront with everything. These are the boundaries.
Yeah.
Don't, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so if somebody, steps out of that, and just because they wanted to, does that also fall into, they don't respect you? If you set those boundaries and they step out, is that when it's considered cheating?
Uh-huh.
Is that what is considered they don't respect you? Because
Mhm.
they knew the boundaries, they knew what it was. You know what I mean? But they did it anyways. Granted, they wanted to, but why would you do it if you already know the boundaries?
Mhm. I'm gonna share again my perspective, my experience. Boundaries, as I have discovered, are what I create when I'm scared. And I found that I don't need them. It's like someone coming up with a checklist or what are standards or a checklist of things that you want in a relationship. All of those could be some form of boundaries. It's
I mean, like you said, like the word used, like when people set boundaries, like it's just like a sense of fear.
there's an absolute sense of fear. Give me a sec.
Like when you, like for the most part, like I'm gonna say for most men, when you go into you go into a situation with a female, you're not saying to her. I mean, and especially when you're into her, like you want to pursue her. You like, we just talking about just the first encounter.
Yeah.
What's your name? And it might go further, and along the way, you're not stopping and saying, well, look, I don't want you cheating on me. I don't want you messing with nobody else.
Right.
I don't want you doing this. I don't want you doing. You just into her.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? So, for the most part, most of the time, like when females set boundaries, they have usually been hurt before.
And men too. When men said,
But
both.
see, I don't think it's as common for men as women. For a man to be like, well, look, I just don't want you messing with nobody else. I don't want you cheating on me. I don't want you doing this. Like, for the most part, most men kind of just go into the situation and ride the wave. For a woman that has been hurt, it's more common for a woman to be like, oh, well, look, I've been hurt before. I don't want you doing this. Or, I don't want to experience that anymore. I just want you to be this, that, and the third.
Mhm.
But, as far as and not to get off that, like, when you was mentioning, like, the cheating thing or the affair, and like you say, stepping outside of relationship, I think all of those are kind of like the same. It's just like, for example, my friend, my homeboy, my stick man, my homie. It's just different terms. I think it all is all the same.
I think, give me a second, let me kind of address what the two of them said. So it is, for the most part, I agree with exactly what you said.
Because like
So,
what you said about the fact, it's like it's a fact. Like, okay, don't tell me you cheated, or don't tell me you stepped outside, don't tell me you had an affair. I mean, had sex with another guy.
Mhm.
That's the fact.
Mhm. That's the fact.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
So like you said, when you mentioned the word cheating or having an affair like that could be a cluster of things. I was talking to her on the phone.
Yeah.
Or I went past her crib.
Mhm.
We not necessarily had sex, but
Somebody call emotional cheating. You get all kinds of stuff with
I
that.
thought about her naked.
Mhm. Right.
You know what I mean? So I kind of see, all of, to me, in my opinion, it's just like, just different. It's just worded different.
Yes. So to what you were saying, the checklist and the boundaries. One thing.
I understand what you're saying. I'm kind of confused though because
I know, right?
That's not funny.
Oh my God. No, I'm not laughing at you, Kayla. Oh, no, Kayla, not laughing at you. No.
So-
Sorry.
But I was saying I'm kind of confused because I understand. Okay,
Yeah.
if setting boundaries is fear, then how can you go through a relationship comfortably and without making sure are they going to do this and it's going to hurt me? Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? There's always, it's that fear because I don't want you to do that.
Mhm.
So how do you? I mean, you can communicate all day, but it's like, I don't know. I guess how do you go about a relationship
Mhm.
with no boundaries?
Well, I read a quote recently that said, Saints, my paraphrase is, if you are interested in being safe, relationships aren't the place for you. That's about right. That really nails it. So if you're interested in feeling safe all the time, the relationship isn't the place for you, because you're gonna get hurt. There are gonna be things that happen that bother you, that upset you. There'll be tears, there'll be joy. That's just life. And the things that you see in life are the things you will see in a relationship, if it's depending on how long it is. And even if it's short, you may have those same experiences. The thing is, if you were to ask me something that I've never experienced, let's say I never had my big toe burned. Never happened to me, knock on wood. However, if you were to ask me for my checklist of things that I don't ever want to happen to me, that wouldn't be one of the things I listed, because it's not something that's on my mind. But I don't want it to happen to me. And my point is, I don't need to, and you don't need to, invest time in the things that you don't want in the future, because that's what a checklist is. That's what boundaries are. You're saying, in the future, I don't want this to happen. I promise you, if that happens, you will know it. I promise you, if something that you don't want to happen in your relationship happens, you're going to know it. And you don't have to say, I told you 2 years ago that I didn't want this to happen. You can say right now, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't like that. That doesn't feel good to me. And it matters just as much and that's without you being able to say, I told you I don't, it's without all of that. The fire that has to come from being able to say, I told you, and you didn't listen. It's just as meaningful and purposeful, and it matters as much for you to be able to say, I didn't tell you, and it still bothers me. So what do we do with that now? And so with that, to me, that's healthy. That's because when we set the boundaries, we're actually, in my humble opinion, we're kind of being manipulative. So we're saying to our partner, I want to say this to you now so that I can say that I said it to you in the future, so that I can be angry at you in the future if this occurs.
A relationship is pretty much just like a child. Like, you let a child live and they make their own mistakes and you correct it as they go. So is that kind of what you mean?
That is very much, and you love them anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
So that's what
Yes.
you mean when you opened up and said, accept anything that comes in a relationship. Just take it as it comes. Go with it as it grows. Go with the pitfalls. Go with the highs and the lows. And then just enjoy it.
I say love the hell out of one another.
Okay.
That's really what I'm saying.
Karen has a burning
You know,
question.
Yes, she does.
Here's the thing, you know what? I've been around the block, okay?
I believe, yes,
Sorry.
I believe.
With that said, whenever I enter a relationship, I make sure that I communicate. Okay, to my other half.
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, it's not out of fear, it's out of self-respect, and it's out of what a person will and will not tolerate in a relationship. And so, I believe in setting boundaries, okay? And I don't think that it's based off of fear. I think it's based off of, this is the way I would like to be treated, and this is what I will accept, and this is what I will not accept from the get-go,
Mhm.
so that they have an understanding, in other words.
So,
And that can be very gracefully.
mhm.
It's not like laying down the ground rules, so to speak. You're just letting them know, what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. People have pet peeves.
Mhm.
People have things that they do not want to, tolerate.
Mhm.
An
An interesting thing that goes with what you're saying is what's called dissonance. And people go through a lot of pain as a result of what you're saying. So often, let's say I told you I wasn't going to put up with something from the very beginning. We both we
But
both.
it's understood from the get-go, which makes it more graceful in the relationship, because, yeah, anyway, go ahead.
I said it, you heard it, you said I said it. So we're on the same page. However, we get in the relationship and that happens. But the thing is, where it gets interesting is there's other stuff happening that I absolutely love. Like, I love this about this relationship. So while we've encountered something that I said I wouldn't put up with, that I didn't want, that you agreed to, we've created something that I didn't see. I didn't know that I would absolutely love this other thing, but not like this. And so there becomes a dissonance. There becomes like an internal struggle, because I told him that I was not going to put up with this. However, this feels good over here. And so while if I stick to my guns, I'm gone. If I do what I said I was going to do, I told him I was going to leave if he did this, and everything about that part of me says leave. However, there's something good here too. And so now I'm not only angry at him, I'm angry at me, because I've told myself, I set these boundaries and ground rules for myself, and I told him about it, but I can't do it. Something in me is not allowing me to do it, because there's something that's also working in a way that I just never expected it to work. There's something so beautiful here that I didn't see. And that's a danger that's a conflict that we often have inside when we set those boundaries. When we're not willing to let ourselves off the hook, or even more, let ourselves off the hook. When we put ourselves on the hook, and we become so tangled with what comes as a result that we don't, it's almost like, for lack of a better word, it's almost like a suicide. When you don't have to do that to yourself. You cannot like something again and deal with it when it comes. You can say to your partner, and I say this to mine, I love you, and I have no plans on going anywhere no matter what you do. And so if there's something that bothers me, I'll let you know, and we'll deal with it then. But I'm in this relationship, and you live your best life, and I support you 100%. Period. We have that option, and that eliminates that dissonance that can occur because of some commitment I made to me and some bad ASS that I determined that I needed to be around this particular issue. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, first of all, this is what I want to say. A man ain't perfect, or a woman not perfect.
Indeed.
Now, when you approach either or, you just got to think what you're going to face. And I agree with him when he said, you get in it, you got to accept, you don't have to accept it, but on the other side, it's beautiful. You don't want to leave, but you trying to make yourself leave. In other words, like something is holding you there. Men and women have their days, and it's like, okay, I'm going to leave because he ain't doing this or he ain't doing that. But then when he get the chance, opportunity to do it, he does it. Then like, okay, I'm going to stay. So like I said, individual is not perfect. So I feel like, if you don't want to be hurt, if you don't want to be fearful, what? Wait unless you get one from church and all the right?
Yes, my brother.
Okay, now she said the key word church. Now, when we talk about relationships, quote unquote relationships, in church, to fornicate is to live in sin. And being that in any relationship that anyone's in right this moment, living in sin right now, for whatever religion that they have, in each religion, fornicating is living in sin. And
I don't know if that's true. I don't.
I did a lot of research on it. And a Muslim, fornicating, that's sin. Being Buddhism, fornicating, that's sin. Christianity, that's sin. This is something that I'm going through right now because I'm actually in a church, and I just proposed to my fiance like a couple weeks ago. Went up to her school, proposed to her in front of everybody. Like 24 bouquet of roses, on one knee, got the ring and everything, and she was speechless.
But you got to think about it too.
But
this
listen,
world is
listen,
sin.
I'm not done.
Let him.
Listen, I'm not done.
Yeah.
I'm about to get to the
So
point.
you're saying you've been with her, can I say one thing?
Listen, I'm about to get to the
But
point.
you've been with her for 9 years, you're saying you haven't had sex with her yet?
Listen, I'm about to get to the point. Let me get to the point. Now that I'm in the church and I'm understanding that this is fornicating and stuff like that, you know, I'm being threatened with not being able to go to the church because we've been together for so long, that we've been sinning for so long that we might as well get married. And I've already proposed to her before this even came up, that I proposed to her. But now the question is, if setting boundaries is something where people are in fear, why do, when you get married, the pastor says for better or for worse, for sickness or in health, so on and so forth, these are boundaries that are set in a marriage, that you agree to these boundaries. Is that in fear? Is that out of fear?
Absolutely. And if you ever, and mind you, I'm not interested in bashing anybody's religion. I'm not interested in bashing religion in general.
Yeah.
However, if you want to look at war, I mean, you want to look at places where there have been wars, and war, fear, taking mine, and I mean, the war and fear, they go hand in hand.
Exactly.
Religion, war, fear, they go hand in hand.
Exactly.
So, I mean, there's a lot that we do within religion that I mean, there are a lot of tenets and, you know, all types of things that are handed down within the scope of religion that are fear-based. And it often has to do with controlling the people. Remember, religion used to be the government.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's not now, particularly in this country, but religion used to be the government, and there was a need to control the people, whether the people at the top did or not. So that's not, I don't think that's yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna hush after this. I
Okay.
promise. First of all, I'm a preacher daughter.
Okay.
Okay.
So you've seen some things.
No, it's what he said, you know, that made me get married, because, you know, I guess he was protecting his whatever reputation or whatever.
Mhm.
I got married at 17,
Mhm.
but was that a marriage that I wanted to be in? No,
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't a marriage.
Mhm.
So on the outside of that marriage, I got 3 kids while being in the marriage.
Mhm.
Today I just went to go file for it. Ooh. But anyway, I feel like this. A man and woman live together. I mean, I don't feel like it's something wrong with it, because you're getting to know this man or this woman. You got to share chemicals. I mean, if you just sit there because somebody in your ear saying that's a sin or whatever, okay, you ask for forgiveness. I'm going to religion. Now, you got to ask for whatever. Yeah. But at the same time, like I told my parents, I had to live with my husband to see what he was like.
Mhm.
But I still married him on a point of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And right now today, you know, I'm divorcing my husband, but I'm with another man, and I got something there that I didn't have there.
Mhm.
So what's that? What's that?
When you say what's that, I'm not sure what you're asking me about.
Listen now, I've got something here. I've got something here that I didn't have there. And that's what a lot of people go through, you know, they're gonna have something either here and not there, or there and not here.
That's when you choose the person of what you want for your life. And that's what God you do, what you want.
But there's no boundaries though. I don't set boundaries for no man.
But like he said, but like Mr. Frank Love said, where he said that he's not going anywhere. Could you repeat what he said, please? Where you're not going anywhere. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna try my best.
Do your
No
best.
matter what.
Conduct your life as you see fit. Do what you think you need to do with yourself, and I've got your back no matter what.
And then he said that it might be something that makes you want to leave, but then there's something where you want to stay because I just love this right here.
It's that fear, that thought of fear. If I leave him, then I'm not going to get the same thing that from somebody else that he gave me. See, it's like a thing you have to balance. That's how I am right now. I'm balanced. I'm fearful because I know I'm sinning, but at the same time, I'm with this man here, and okay, it's something else. You know what I'm saying? But I can't. I'm in the, between the rock and the hard bottom with that.
Oh, okay. To what you were saying, as far as about the church and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure in today's America, there's nobody,
Okay.
nobody has gotten married before having sex.
Eggs, nobody.
I
mean,
just can't see it.
I say there's a couple people, but it's rare. It's rare.
You got the
Right.
odds. What I'm saying is, okay, what's the odds, like I say, in the world we live in today, somebody's like saying, I do, like before even having sex.
No, you gotta test that.
But you talking about the fornication, about the sex in the church and all
But
that.
you know what? You gotta test drive that car before you buy it.
Well, if it's one person we haven't heard from yet, it's this young lady here. What you got? What you got?
We keep mixing up like the function of religion with like toxic relationship. I think they're completely separate, and it's difficult to combine them, especially because everyone has their own belief system. So I don't think it's really productive to go into it too much because none of us can really understand what everyone's talking about. I mean, we can talk about it from like a societal perspective, but like I think relationships are very separate. Does that make any sense?
See, but the only reason why I touched on religion is because religion is always key when it comes to marriage, because this is where a marriage usually takes place at inside a church. Before you go downtown, it's always in a church, or is a pastor that's married somebody, and this is the person that's saying these boundary words. And I was asking the question related to that, is that out of fear that they make these questions, for better or for worse, for death do you part, because then everybody would be living in fear,
Right.
and this would be a fear-based
It is.
relationship that everybody
Yeah.
lives.
You talked about that.
Isn't this about entering and exiting a relationship between two people gracefully?
Isn't that what this talk is about? No, not that's what my book is about, but that's not necessarily what this talk is about. And let me to address something you've said and you've just said. This is just me. I believe marriage to be one of three things, and I happen to have done all of them. So my wife and I said we were married to each other, and that could be a marriage as far as I'm concerned. We say we're married, boom, that's the end of it. We did that. We went before clergy, and we did that too. We did that after we said we were married. And the other is the government, where you go before, to the justice of the peace, and you get the marriage license and all of that. So you could go before clergy and not do the government thing. It's any of those is possible, at least in my humble opinion. Now, so it doesn't have to be the religious piece. And one of the things that I did not want to do, I told my wife, my vow to you is to support you no matter what you do, period. That's my vow. That's all I got. And it's none of the other stuff. So the religion piece, the heavy in the religion piece, the fear that I noticed in the religion piece, I didn't want any part of. And so that's why I took the route I took. But yes.
Can you talk about some of the things that you find like kill relationships or cause the most unhappiness?
It may be when you have to gracefully enter a relationship and not have to set boundaries.
Right, like how to...
Yeah, right? So, how do we do that? Maybe I need some help.
Okay. So I'm going to,
Some doing it wrong, too.
where you kind of attempted to take us 2 minutes ago about asking me about the topic of the conversation, we're going to go there. And it's going to answer, I think, some of your questions. So I wrote a book called How to Gracefully Exit a Relationship. And while it seems like, based on the title, it would seem as though the book is about breaking up. But it's not really. The book is about really loving each other all the time in a relationship and having hard conversations, particularly early in the relationship. And I really think those hard conversations help you stay together. They help create a strong bond at the very beginning. So one of the things, I think one of the first chapters in the book is we may break up. It's possible. You and I get together, it takes two people to create a relationship and one to end it. And so it's not reasonable, it's not feasible for either person to take the stand, we're never going to get a divorce. Because you can't make that determination. No matter how close you are with your partner might determine, even the partner that's saying, we're never going to get it. We're looking at each other, holding each other, saying we're never going to get a divorce. Well, that might change. So a way of developing closeness in a relationship is being humble to the relationship and the dynamics of relationships. To be able to say, this one day things might change between us. It's possible. And I love you anyway. And I will love you even if that's the direction we need to go in. And I will respect you even if you decide that you no longer want to be with me. Think about how good it feels in the relationship. We are in a relationship, and I'm saying to you, if you decide you don't want to be with me anymore, I still got your back. I love you. Think about how that feels about the relationship that you're in. Versus
security, it's wonderful.
It is
security.
Yes, it is security.
Yes.
Versus if we ever split up, I'm gonna take you to the cleaners. I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you and your family. And we laugh, but this is real. People do this. I'm going to take half your pension. If I can't get all of it, I'm gonna take the kids, all of that. And think about how that affects the actual relationship that you're in while you're in the relationship. Like, we're not even breaking up, but you saying that to me now has an effect on how we live together to this day. That's big, that's major. So while I just talked about breaking up, I'm talking about being in the relationship too. It fascinates me, that kind of stuff. Another chapter is, this is how I might break up with you. So think about the humility that goes into if we're together and I tell you just what my tendencies are. Some people look for opportunities to beat their partners up. And so you see breakups all the time where somebody says, he texted me that he didn't want to be with me anymore. Like, can you believe that? Or he just disappeared, or she went off and was with someone else. Can you believe that? Imagine if I said to you, imagine if you knew me. Imagine if I tell you, in all of my previous relationships, in my job, I just disappear. Really, if I don't want to go, if it's not working out at that job, I just don't go back. Or in my previous 2 relationships, I just disappeared. I just stopped. She went to work and I packed my stuff and I disappeared. Imagine if you just know me, and instead of knowing me and trying to put a fence around me, you just know me and say, hey, if you do that, I just know you. It's mwah. Have a good day, babe. Yes.
I don't want to know what you say about this, because I was in that position where one time I was complaining to my dad, and I was like, he wants to break up with me over a text message, like, I'm going to make him meet up with me.
Yes. Go, Dad. There you go, Dad. And those types, the thing is, that type of compassion and that type of manipulation, it exists in the relationship. There's no way around it. So while instead of wanting to push the issue of look, if you're gonna, you're wrong if you do it this way. You're absolutely wrong, and I'm gonna cut you, and I'm gonna hurt you, and I'm gonna drag your name through the mud. You have the option to just say, I know you, and I know your history. I love you today. I'm with you today because I appreciate you. And if we don't work, it just doesn't work. And most likely, it's my understanding of you that you'll probably just disappear or communicate with me via text message. But that's part of knowing our partners and loving our partners. So, there's a lot more to talk about in the book. We can certainly go. I wrote it. I know it. If y'all want to continue down that road, if you got specific questions, I'm happy. But whatever you guys want to do. Yes, ma'am.
That's why it's best for women. I ain't being funny because I'm the type of female I really don't. I care about the relationship, but I don't because I know how I was treated in the relationship. But right now today, it's like I really don't care. That's why women, I know they don't want to do it because it make them look like they don't respect themselves. Have a sidekick. This one goes acting crazy, and it's not called cheating or dogging. It's just like you got a sidekick because that one is you're expecting and you're looking as y'all journeying on your journey or however you say it. Have a sidekick. That calls for no, it's not. That's called for women and men, because relationships is not perfect. An individual is not perfect. You're not going to find what you want in a man. I know this. A man ain't going to find what they want in a woman. I know that. Because a lot of people, some people like my personality, some people like, wow, she's kind of wild, you know what I'm saying? But that's okay. I'm going to speak. I'm going to keep it 100. Like I said, a relationship, there's no good perfect. I don't care if you're married, you say you love this person. It's going to be something that jumps in between that relationship. Am I right, Brother Love?
You got something to say back there? Yes.
I don't know, I'm just kind of taking it in.
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, let her finish. She's not.
I just think it's up to if you're going to decide who you want to be with, and you're going to meet your choice, understand that person or not, and if he wants to work out, then you have to.
I understand. I don't know either. I'm figuring it out, and I really, really understand that it's and hopefully what I'm doing is raising issues and presenting issues and questions and tracks of thought that you may walk down and just begin to discover, maybe that you hadn't thought about. I'm hopefully here for a reason. Hopefully something good's going to come from me being here, and the good that I want to come is for us to just find ways to love each other deeper. That's my goal. That's my goal. Yes.
Like you don't seem like you're too far in age. So
44.
So I'm sure that you still learning as you go. Also.
No question.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, and you said like you're married, 5 kids, and not to get too personal.
Go get personal.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure that every relationship has some type of issue.
Yeah.
Even if it's all the way down to washing the clothes, I'm sure y'all bump heads somewhere.
Yes.
Even with what you do.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like all relationships, it's not going to be perfect. No relationship is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's always going to be something. It's always room to grow.
Yes.
So it's just that's the gamble that we will endure with relationships. Like you
Yes.
said, it's just that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to be perfect.
Right.
It may seem like it's going, so right, but somewhere down the line, there's going to come a time where you're going to clash.
Yes.
Then you can grow from it. You can either say, you know what, I'm not dealing with that, or you can say, how can we work through this?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I hope also comes from this dialogue that we're having is that I say something to you that may trigger some way for you to be more loving, and then you say, Frank, you said, one time you said this, this, and this.
And it didn't work.
And no. One time you said this, this, and this, and I think that you could do this, this, and that. You know, I see an area for you to grow, and I take it in. You know, you're right. Yeah, yes. So it's a back and forth by all means. That is absolutely my goal. Yes, ma'am.
How do you show up to your wife?
Well, one of the ways is the vow that I, so to speak, gave, and I remind myself of that.
Like on a daily basis, or?
Yeah, easily.
I wish there were more men like you. I really do.
Okay.
Does it make it harder or easier being so like involved in the relationship stuff, like trying to make the relationship perfect?
Well, I'm not trying to make it perfect. I think one of the benefits for doing what I do is that I realize that the perfection is in the imperfection. It's like being comfortable with being uncomfortable. There's comfort and understanding. Many of us we double down on the anger of being uncomfortable. So it's like something happens that makes us uncomfortable. We get angry, and then instead of coming back and saying, oh, this discomfort is just it's par for the course. It's going to happen. We get angry and want to change the discomfort or change the person in the situation, and then get angry that that's not working. You know, it just zigzags, and instead of being at peace and just understanding, you know, discomfort is going to happen. And I don't have to respond. I don't have to react. I can just really be cool. I can be cool. Because often the best response is not to respond. Yeah. And that's what I get heavily out of what I do. Yes. Wait a second. This sister, she hasn't talked much. Yes, ma'am.
No, I find profoundly a lot in small things.
Yes.
And I saw a quote with Piglet and Winnie the Pooh.
Mhm.
Piglet asked Pooh,
Uh-huh.
how do you spell love? And Pooh said, you don't spell it, you show it. And so I'm
Uh-huh.
a big believer in showing, like, just being a mother.
Yes.
You don't have to be talking about male-female relationship or partnerships. Being a mother, I didn't grow up in the best of circumstances, so I decided I wanted to change that with my children.
Mhm.
So I read to my children. I took my children places to let them experience sitting down at a 5-star and then take them to a fast food. So I gave them things that I did not have. So in order for them to be productive citizens in my eyes, to not stay the course of what I learned, because
Mhm.
some things are traditional.
Yes.
And some of the traditional things aren't best.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at my 6 children that I put out, my husband and I put out into society, and they're all productive, and I've never had to do the stuff on the opposite side of being productive, I pat myself on the back, because if I had stayed the course with tradition, then maybe they wouldn't have turned out the way they did. So,
Yes, ma'am.
I say, once again, because I've said a lot, it's the vow that individuals take to make them, like you said, you vowed, when you got married, you said your vows. That's why you're like, okay, I'm going to do everything to make her happy. Because of them vows. Not everybody don't.
I didn't say that.
What you say?
I didn't say I'm going to do everything to make her happy.
Not happy. She can do everything, basically, and you got her back. That's
Yes,
what make
that-
her happy, because she go out there and be a stripper. You want to have her back on that?
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this. What did you, like, for what you do today, like, is that what you got degrees in? Like, what
No,
did you get degrees in?
that's funny that you asked that, because I have a bachelor's in athletic training. I have a bachelor's in allied health sciences. I have a master's in physical therapy and a master's in organizational management.
Okay.
None of it is mental health stuff. None of it is psychology, sociology, any of that, social work, none of it. This is just really a growth that came from talking about relationships and people telling me, you got something there. You should write, you should share that with people because what you're offering is powerful. And that's where it came from. Yes, ma'am.
I don't think there's an answer to this, but like, what's your advice for like, you know, a relationship ended, it wasn't your choice. Like, how do you reconcile that? If you think, okay, I really think this person has this all wrong. Like, I feel like I did everything I could. Like, how do you like, I don't know, like, how do you get over it? Or like, how do you, I
So
don't
when you're the
know.
one that's hurt,
Yeah, or like,
when you're on the other spectrum, like how.
yeah.
Well, again, you respect that relationships can end. You
Right.
respect that you can break up
Right.
and that it can happen without your consent. I
Right.
mean, just a basic respect. And then time.
Yeah.
Really, time is critical. But the other piece is understanding that the smallest nuances that may cause a breakup are perfect. I mean, I wrote a blog years ago called Most Relationships End Perfectly. And it really talks about how the little things that you're in a relationship may break up with you about, that would come and bite you in the tail in years to come. You know, it could very well be a blessing that person just, you know, wanted out because of whatever that is, because if the relationship continued, persisted, there would be a snowball that you would have a hard time dealing with in the future. So understand that it's,
Dodge the bullet.
you may have dodged a bullet, yes. And one of something hard to deal with is an understanding that what doesn't happen, you didn't want to happen.
Right.
So it's like if I got two streets to walk down, you know, I got to pick one, a fork in the road, and I walk down this one, I can't, and I come to some trouble, you know, it's pointless to act as though I picked the wrong street. Because I really don't know what would have happened down that other street. It's really a waste of time.
Right.
So just let it go and have faith that something positive was speaking to you or him or your partner
Right.
whenever whatever happened, and appreciate it.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Accept it.
Yeah, accept
You
it.
said the thing, 'cause like with my husband and I, oh my goodness, I was this type of female that wore stars and t-shirts, nothing anyway. Sure, I just didn't care about myself. I'm telling you, my mom would always get on me, y'all. She would, Janine, you are a beautiful young lady. My husband had me so down in the dumps. But when I found this one here, it's like the stores know me by name, by credit cards, by whatever. When they see me, and I went to see my mom last weekend.
Mhm.
For a week I stayed with my mom. When my mom seen me, she broke down and started crying. She did not recognize me. Sometimes a woman can't get too wrapped up in a relationship because they're gonna feel sorry for themselves. And you know, they claim that they're all right. No, they're not all right. Personally, I've been in that. I'm telling y'all. Have a sidekick, the one you with, that's not the one for you. Y'all laughing, but I'm serious.
You ain't gonna be all in a relationship if you
It ain't nothing that I want that I cannot get. I mean, personally, he's basically like you. But there are, now I'm gonna say this word, there are boundaries with, you know, finances and stuff. Things that I can do or I can't do, but it's not because he's telling me what to do or what not to do. I mean, this is the best life that I've lived, you know, because I don't tie myself up in worrying about, oh, is he gonna break up with me? You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I'm
I
not gonna
understand.
find nobody else or anything. No, it don't work like that, females. It don't work.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think what you said about like kind of assuming at the beginning that this may end is like a huge thing that like I think like me for myself I don't realize how big of a deal that is because when a relationship ends you kind of almost feel betrayed like oh this ended.
Yes.
But like if you kind of just remember from the get go that like it may end and that the hurt would probably be a lot less.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how you act as a result of that, and the fear that you may have, and the things that you may do as a result of trying to avoid that
Right.
experience,
Yeah. It
you
just
can
totally changes it.
you could just walk into it. Hey, you know,
But some people really aren't okay with that though.
absolutely.
Like some people are like I've met people that are like, oh, I don't want to date you unless I can see getting married
Yes. And that's still the same thing. It's still the same fear, and it's good for you to know that that person is on that track.
Right.
Because, I mean, some people will say exactly what you said. Others will say, look, I want to be together forever. And they could be covertly saying, and if that doesn't happen, I will lose my mind and I will hurt you.
Right.
I mean, they may not be saying it overtly, but covertly, I will lose my mind and I will hurt you. I won't know what else to do but to hurt you because I'll be hurting.
Yeah.
So you listen to these things. Yeah. People, yeah, we all are, but the crazy's different.
Someone had a question regarding fatherhood. Who was that? What was that?
That was
question?
me. Is it wrong, like say for instance, fathers be away, like in prison or something?
Mm-hmm.
Is it wrong for the mother to not let him be with his child, or do he need to be with that child?
My general answer to that question, without a bunch of nuance and circumstance, I would say fathers that, for the most part, fathers that quote unquote shouldn't be with their children are probably the fathers that don't want to be with their children. But if a father wants to spend time with his child, I think he should. That it should be nourished. I mean, because it sounds cliche, but you are really almost not allowing that child to connect with a part of themselves. And it really is a part of themselves. When you see things in your mama that you do, I mean, it's certain things people say to children that never met a certain parent, you're just like your mama, or you're just like your father. And so there are things where we're connected that is just good for us to connect with in a face-to-face component portion, that sort of thing. So that's my humble opinion.
Well, thank you, Mr. Frank.
You bet.
So your books, are they available on Amazon?
Yes. You could buy the book. The hard copy sold out. We're in the process of doing the second edition, the ebook, but you can still buy the ebook on Amazon. Yes. Yeah. How to gracefully exit a relationship.
Did you bring any of these today?
No, I don't have it. Sold out. It's gone. Right. Right.
Do you have a card?
I absolutely do. Yes. And on top of that, I would.
Because maybe we can get together, Mr. Frank, and write some love to the stuff, or I can show
She could be
them.
like your guest, like, speaker.
Right. So what I would ask you guys to do is I would like your feedback. If there's anything you just simply want to say to me, if there's any just impression you have of me today, I want to hear it. I want to know what it is. You can leave, and if you want to be on.
That was one of the things that I had told you that I wanted some reaction and feedback. And if you are not prepared to see it today, if you will give that to me, and I will make sure that Mr. Love gets it.
Sure.
Okay, so can I do the feedback?
Your book has 5 stars on Amazon.
Well, if you feel ready enough,
Can we
do
verbally
it
give
now.
Mr. Frank love feedback?
I'm saying that for the class.
Pretty much let you know how well you did, or like.
Yeah, how I did. What you like, what you don't like, what I could do better, what I could do better. Any of that.
Thank
You bet. And
you. You think I can be your assistant? Like,
we'll talk. And if you want to be on my email list, if you want to be on my email list, please leave me your email. Put your email address on there. So please share your email address. I have a weekly podcast that I do where myself and my co-host, we interview someone related to relationships. Check it out.
As I mentioned, the last class, that, I was asking the same thing in terms of reaction and feedback. That, of course, rewards as points. They must be typed and given to me on reaction to he also wants some feedback from me, but that was your assignment.
Okay,
so I can
okay.
forward to him whatever that you have, if you can think of it at this point. You might want to digest it and think a little bit more about it, and I want to forward that to Mr. Bond. And at the same time, you get the extra points.
You must have changed your last name, didn't you?
Yes. Oh, that's not my real name. If you see on my card, it says Yao Tyus, which is my real name. What'd you say, brother? Yeah, that's me. Yep, you can. Absolutely. You'll get me.
I get you?
Yeah.
So how would I be able to get the book once it's
Just give me your email address. Leave your email address if you want me to have it. And if Dr. Peterson, if you'd be willing, I would love, if you would be willing to take a picture of me, I would love to have a picture taken with the class. Okay. Thank you, bro. Thank you. All right. Pleasure, man.
Can I buy one of those shirts? Those are nice.
Yes, yes.
Can I have my own personal picture with you?
Of course.
So now,
Thank you, bud.
How you want to do this, in terms of the class?
Wherever the class is willing to line up, to gather. Yeah.
I'm wondering if
Oh, that's right.
let's see. Is it okay if they sit where they are now, and or is it better they stand?
It's better to stand. Yeah, if we could gather in one place. That's
All righty, okay.
Spell poetry, P-O-T, poor, P-O-O.
Yes.
yeah, that works. Then we could push the table back. Whatever works.
So you get the tall in the back and the short in the front,
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
So you might want to be in
Where do I go?
Oh, you're the boss. So you tell me.
Just lay on the floor.
This is what I do right here.
Okay, can we get Professor Peterson? I can't see you. Right.
Could we get up a little closer? Karen?
I guess. Okay, so Professor Peterson, I can't see you. So can we get together a little more? Okay, perfect. So I'm taking this one right now without me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bingo. And then I'm going to run over there and get into this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's try one more. Right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, guys.
Can somebody take me in this picture, please? I want. Oh, what do you want us to do?
Just give them to me. Just give them to me. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, class, I'll see you then on Monday.
Yes, sir.
All righty, okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Let me get one of those too.
Oh, wait a minute. My head was. I got to hold my head up. Look at that.
Oh my God, I thought you were.
I got to hold my head up. Come on now. I can't be long.
Okay.
All right, can you get us?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, the
Future sidekick over here.
timer is still on, so you got to count down. Here,
Okay.
come on. It's ready to go.
Okay, I think that was.
Did it work? Did it? It flashed. Did it?
Yeah, but it was kind of dark.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh, and I'm like, what?
So let's try it this way. And I'm going to turn the timer off. And so there you go. Just press that.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Look, if it don't look.
Thank you.
If it don't look
Thanks so
right, I'm
much.
gonna
You
fire
take care. All right.
There'll
Bye-bye.
never be another photographer.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Take care. All right.
Answer the question on test 2, because I'm distributing test 3 on Monday,
When is test 2 due again?
22nd, on the test itself.
All right. So want to test yourself what?
Thank you.
You was wonderful, Mr. Frank.
Thank you. Did you write your name on here so I can find you on Facebook and just and count add you to my picture when I put the picture on?
Thanks.
All right. Okay, Ms. Jefferson. Let's go.
She's no joke, isn't she? She's no joke.
I know this is a small class, but I mean, it's
Spirited, very spirited, very like.
They're one of the most spirited classes I've ever had, this be this small.
Thank you. All right, great. Okay.
You give my address so you can put it in your GPS and stuff.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right, take care. You bet. All right.
And Karen is not this quiet,
She is not.
No, but I just, relationships are very complex.
Yeah.
And, so.
It's a real pleasure. I appreciate you sharing with me and
no
talking
problem,
with
man,
me.
no
All right.
Yeah, but I set boundaries in my relationship.
I understand. I do. I understand.
Because